Hey members, I wanted to check in with you this week and share a better nutrition lesson that seems to be everywhere. So I felt like I would address it here for you so hopefully you get better nutrition information instead of what I'm reading. So the topic is intermittent fasting. If you are like, nope, not interested, you can turn off this lesson. But it's getting a lot of attention. And in fact, I had two reporters from pretty great newspapers today reach out to me and ask about the question. And they said, hey, Ashley, so like, have we gotten it all wrong, at this point? This whole notion of eating every 3 hours and, as I like to say, pit stopping for better nutrition, or, some people will say it's 6 small meals, or, whatever it is. Have we gotten that all wrong? And actually, should we be fasting intermittently? So what I wanted to do right now is actually take you through what intermittent fasting is and isn't, take you what I think is okay about it and where I have some concerns, and then compare it to what we talk about often, which is the better nutrition, one of the pillars, which is frequency, and that idea of better nutrition pit stopping, and then give you a way to think about whether or not you should choose one or the other or both. So intermittent fasting is intermittently, so not consistently fasting, but where it gets tricky is how they define the fasting. So different people are, surprise, surprise, defining it differently. So the way that I understand it is you can fast for different periods of time. So some people are fasting for 8 hours, i.e. when they're sleeping. Other people are fasting for 8 hours during the day. So maybe they're having something at 8 a.m. and then from 9 to 5, they're not having anything at all, and then they're having something in the evening and then doing the same the next day. Other people are choosing to fast for 12 hours. I've even seen a 24-hour fast. So, having something at 8 p.m. One night and then waiting until 8 p.m. the next night to have something. And, when it comes to fasting, I think it raises a really interesting point. Why are we in this place of fasting? Well, one reason I think people are interested in fasting is because we are overwhelmed with nutrition choices. And a lot of it is the food that we're eating isn't making us feel great. Another piece of it is that we have a lot of other things that we want to be doing. And so fasting makes life pretty easy if we don't have to think about what we're having to eat at all, right? So I think in that way it works for some people. What doesn't work is if we feel hangry. So if we're angry, we're hungry, we're frustrated. If we eat too much at one time. So if because we know a fasting is coming up, we are going to fast. If we have a mega last meal, how does that do on our digestive system? Is it overwhelming? A lot of people who are fasting are actually proponents of low or no carbohydrates. So they're using it as a way to create ketones, which is a method used at low carbohydrate to try to get energy from fats and from proteins, which we can do. But that could create a lot of waste products. And so then the question is, what's happening during the fasting? Are you eliminating? Are you exercising? Some people are fasting and yet drinking caffeine. So they're drinking green tea, or they're drinking coffee, or they're drinking some combination of other things. So I think in that way, there are a lot of different factors in the way that we define fasting. So I'm not going to go into any more of them other than to say, please know what you mean by fasting when you are deciding whether or not to fast. And if you have questions about fasting, go ahead and ask me specifically. So that is intermittent fasting. And some of the claims are that it, helps with long-term weight loss. Some of the claims are that it certainly helps with short-term weight loss. And other of the claims are that it could help us, maybe build muscle and not have to lose fat mass and build lean body mass, where normally when we're losing fat mass, we're also losing lean body mass. So there's some interesting claims about it. One of the things that I find incredibly valuable, I was reading an assessment today, an overview of the research. There's a lot of research, not crazy amounts, but I think 60 or 70 studies on intermittent fasting in men. There's about 10 studies in women. I'm noticing that there are more complaints in women. Women are saying it's making their skin break out. Women are saying that it's making their cramps or their periods stop or their cramps be worse. Other women are saying that it's keeping them sleepless at night, or it's exacerbating hot flashes, things like that. All of these can certainly be true. If it's happening to you, it is true. And I think what that has to do with is I think that fasting may have hormonal implications that are not favorable. So there might be times during your cycle that it is okay to do fasting and times that it is not. I would want to go into that more personally with you. So if you're deciding yes in the column of intermittent fasting, we might need to talk personally, or at least have you send me over some thoughts by way of your better nutrition plan. Which, if you haven't done yet, just a reminder to go ahead and do that. And then the second thing is, what about this notion of pit stopping for better nutrition more often? So I never came up with the number 3 hours arbitrarily. I don't think life happens in 3 hours. But what we do know is when we're getting the right nutrient balance, the better nutrient balance of carbohydrates, proteins, healthy fats, non-starchy vegetables, and we're getting them in the right amounts, then we tend to get about 3 hours worth of better energy. And so I think that that's a great way to be thinking about it. It also, some of the benefits of doing the pit stops are that because we know that we are going to eat again soon, that we may, it may help us to avoid from eating like it is our last meal. And so we are able to space ourselves out and say, ooh, that delicious sandwich, I'm good with half of it, because I know that I can have the other half later. So there are advantages there. One of the disadvantages is it means that you're eating more often, so you do have to plan for what you're eating or make sure you have access to better nutrition choices. So I can see where that would be, a challenge for some of us, and for all of us actually, on an ongoing basis. So I can appreciate that sometimes we just want to throw our hands up in the air and say, I don't want to think about food or any of that right now. So I can appreciate all of this. And so really, how do you make the decision? Well, I think if intermittent fasting is appealing to you, I have no problem with having you fast for 1 day a week. I think one of the things that you could do, if you're a woman, I would not fast right before your period. I would think that it would be fine to fast for a day after, either towards the end of your period or after you've gotten your period. If you are pregnant, I do not want you fasting. If you have diabetes or if you are on any medications, I don't want you fasting without our having a conversation and a very clear plan. And that really includes any medications, even, your fiber supplements and then another thing is if you are fasting, you should not be taking your supplements. And so that's a really good point about changing the time in the day when you're taking your supplements. That could also affect what you're taking at what time and what you're taking together and any interaction. So go ahead and send me that better supplement evaluation that is a part of your Better Nutrition membership, and make sure you point out that you are intermittently fasting. So if you are interested in it, I don't have a problem. I actually have had clients that have done great with a day of fasting. I don't like the notion of eating at 8 p.m. and not eating again until 8 p.m. I prefer something like a 5 p.m. and then 5 p.m. the next day, or noon and then noon the next day. And the other thing is you need to factor in what your day is like. If this is the most stressful day, if it's a high performance day physically, if it's a high performance day mentally, and you haven't fasted before, you want to be thinking about these things. And these aren't going to be the times to try the intermittent fasting out. It may turn out that they are the times that it works well for you, but I would try it out just like running shoes, not on the day of the race, not having new running shoes. I would try it out ahead of time. So I think there is room in the world for both of these, but I am in favor of sticking with the Better Nutrition frequency plan, which means pit stopping for better nutrition from roughly around the time that you wake up in the morning every 3 hours until 3 to 5 hours before going to bed. If you have any other questions, that's what I'm here for. I also do my Facebook Lives every Monday or sometimes Tuesday night, so check the schedule depending on my schedule and holiday schedules, but I can answer your questions there. And then, of course, one of the things, whether we're fasting or not, that we should be doing regularly is assessing our digestive system, because if you are intermittently fasting or if you are pit stopping for better nutrition and your digestive system is not working better, then you are not getting the benefit of your better nutrition. You are not what you eat, you are what you digest and absorb. So I would love to remind you to go ahead and do that better nutrition evaluation, the digestive evaluation. And in coming weeks, actually very, very soon, you're going to be seeing a new design on the membership. I hope you enjoy it. I find it much more fun and rewarding to be able to search this way and to see the content, the better nutrition tools that I've been creating for you better. And as always, please send me your better, not perfect choices, the choices that you're making to help enable your better health, whether you want to share them with me on social media or whether you want to just share them with me by email. It helps me understand what are those better, not perfect choices that help enable better health, and I can share them with others if you'll allow me, and of course anonymously, so that more people can get their better health fueled by better, not perfect choices more often. Thanks, and have a great one.